People in the Fever were like, y'all.
That's not my point. There's a lot of other shit going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some new shit going on around there.
It's a lot. Yeah. So you have players that are very significant on this Indiana Fever team that are like, I don't
want to be here.
This is where I want to be.
Sheryl Swoopes once shared her concerns about the Indiana Fever, hinting that something wasn't quite right behind the scenes. She also claimed free agents were avoiding the team. It was a bold claim, but in the end, the facts didn't support.
What kind of things do you feel?
I'm not in the locker room.
Okay,
I'm talking about more social media.
Okay, it's a turn. Right? It's a turn, right? It's really a turn of the tides.
Well,
right?
Gil, here's my point. The beginning of the year, right? Everybody saw.
Now, fast forward to today. Things have completely changed. The Indiana Fever just made a big splash in free agency. And leading the charge? Sue Bird. Yep, that's Sue Bird. But before we dive into her straightforward take, let's quickly go back to Swoopes' past comments and give them the friendly reality check they deserve.
Sheryl Swoopes is been missing. Sheryl Swoopes is MIA. They got a APB out for Sheryl Swoopes. If you see Sheryl Swoopes, she did a lot of talking a few months ago about the Indiana Fever, the locker room environment, how people didn't want to play there, how people wanted to leave.
This wasn't just a casual remark from a newcomer with a mic. This came from a Hall of Famer. Swoopes didn't hold back when she talked about the Indiana Fever. She didn't just question the team. She painted a picture of a broken locker room and said no top players would want to sign there. In her eyes, Caitlin Clark wasn't joining a team with potential. She was stepping into a dead end.
That takes us to Indiana, which I think everyone agrees right now has gone from, a team that made the playoffs last year, lost in the first round. They were building all these young pieces, of course, Caitlin Clark, to now an immediate contender with all the moves that they've.
Turns out Indiana is now the team everyone wants to join. Free agents aren't avoiding the Fever. They're jumping at the chance to be part of the Caitlin Clark era. And who's calling out this change? Sue Bird. And when Sue talks, the whole league listens.
I think Natasha Howard certainly stands out. I loved playing with Tosh.
But you cannot say enough
about Tosh. I really enjoyed playing with her. I think she really is she's just this glue player that doesn't get enough shine for what she does, because a lot of what she does doesn't show up in the box score, but she just is like always in the right place at the right time. And a player like that, I think, complements what Indiana is building.
Sue Bird doesn't care about hype, and she's not looking for the spotlight. She's a 4-time WNBA champ, a 5-time Olympic gold medalist, and one of the most trusted voices in basketball. When she speaks, it's more than just opinion. It matters.
So Sue Bird is one of the greatest point guards of all time in the WNBA. And she's someone who obviously is a part owner in the Seattle Storm. So hyping up another team is a bit of a conflict of interest, if we're being honest.
Let's set the record straight. Sue Bird didn't hop on the Indiana Fever bandwagon just to hype them up. She did what real veterans do, told everyone to pump the brakes before calling them title favorites. As always, Sue kept it real, reminding folks that championships aren't won on social media. They're earned on the court.
They obviously, through trade, added Sophie Cunningham, a player that, I would say a 3-and-D type player who has, been to the finals, so has that playoff experience. She's also just tough. She's mentally tough. She's physically tough. She brings an edge to them. And then last but not least, they added Dewana Bonner, which really I think is the one that, for most people, took it to another level. So now you're like, oh, they're
If you really listen to what Sue is saying, it's clear she's not criticizing. She's giving a heads up. Her tone is calm, but her message is strong. Something big is happening in Indiana. And it's not just about Caitlin Clark's jaw-dropping plays, though let's be honest, she's leaving defenders scrambling and setting up her teammates like a pro. Sue sees it as more than just one player. She recognizes a bigger plan coming.
The biggest part of DB joining this team is that she's already played for Steph. So I think that's going to help bridge the gap, because as we go along, we're going to talk about Vegas and Seattle, Atlanta. It's really going to be which
Stephanie
team.
White being the head coach of,
Right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Thank you.
Was the head coach of Connecticut, now the head coach of Indiana.
Yeah. So it's really going to be the team that finds their chemistry. This season is short. I mean, they're adding games, but it's still pretty short season.
Short, yeah, still short.
And it's
Still
going to
just
be
the
the
summer.
team that finds chemistry. So having Stephanie White there, having already coached DB, really does help.
Cool. Aaliyah Boston is taking control of the paint, like it's hers alone. Kelsey Mitchell is finally getting the recognition she's earned after years of hard work. Lexi Hull is bringing the toughness and teamwork every great team needs. And now, experienced players are eager to join, almost like it's 2016 all over again. This is exactly what Sheryl Swoopes didn't see coming. Caitlin Clark didn't just change the narrative. She transformed the whole game.
Kelsey Mitchell's balling, Caitlin continuing to impress, and she's going to break records nonstop for the next couple of years.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a constant record.
The Indiana Fever is no longer the team that flies under the radar. They're the team everyone's watching. Ticket sales are soaring, jerseys are flying off the shelves, and national networks can't wait to air their games. Players around the league are lining up to join, knowing that teaming up with Caitlin Clark means more TV time, playoff action, and the chance to be part of something special. Sue Bird gets it. She's been that player, the one who attracts stars and sets up greatness. Now she sees that same potential in Clark and the young Fever squad, with the makings of a championship-caliber team. This is how greatness starts. With an incredible rookie, a solid foundation, and veterans ready to make it happen.
There's something about the way she plays the game, her passing, her shooting, that people really identify with. So I really feel like we're poised and we're set up for a great, successful next era of Fever basketball.
While Sue Bird is quietly leading Indiana's rise with the wisdom of a true veteran, Sheryl Swoopes is watching her credibility fade as quickly as her predictions are proven wrong. The Fever aren't a warning. They're the future. And if the rest of the league doesn't wake up soon, they'll be stuck watching Indiana celebrate championships while holding on to outdated opinions from last season's.
3 WNBA MVPs in your career. Would you consider each of those 3 seasons as dominant seasons for yourself?
No.
I can't. Bro, Sheryl Swoopes is willing to lie about her own career before she even admits that Caitlin is dominant.
When Sue Bird speaks about a team making waves, you don't ignore it, you pay attention. Sue isn't just a retired star making bold statements for attention. She's a basketball expert. And when she makes a prediction, it's one worth taking seriously. Her message about the Indiana Fever. Simple. They're not just knocking on the door. They've already walked in and taken their seat at the table. That's where Sheryl Swoopes missed the mark with her outdated, nobody wants to play in Indiana comments. She made it sound like Caitlin Clark was stepping into a basketball wasteland. But Swoopes missed the bigger picture. This wasn't a sudden shift when Clark was drafted. The Fever have been working for years, building talent, learning from mistakes, and laying a strong foundation while others weren't paying attention. Clark might be the spark, but the fire had already started.
Experience the champions that have been added to this one.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what everybody talked about when we were in the playoffs last year of, we really didn't have much experience at all playing in playoff games. I don't know what the exact number was, but we really lacked in that area. So just adding pieces of, players that have been in this league, they know what it takes to win. They know what it takes to get to the finals. They know what it takes to win championships. I think it's exactly what we needed in our locker room. So it's just exciting, but also they're not only really good basketball players, they're really great leaders and really great people. And I know the front office obviously really prioritized that and looking for the pieces that we wanted to add. So really thankful for that as well.
That's what Sue Bird gets. She's not caught up in the headline hype. She's looking deeper. Indiana didn't just throw a team together for social media clout. They've built a squad with long-term success in mind. They've created a space where Caitlin Clark can shine without having to carry the team on her own every single night. This isn't a struggling franchise hoping one rookie will fix everything. It's a well-rounded team, with Clark as the game changer. Just look at their moves in free agency. It says it all. The Fever used to be the team players overlooked. Now, they're one of the top destinations. Players aren't avoiding Indiana. They're eager to join. Playing for the Fever isn't a fallback anymore. It's a strategic power move.
Sydney Colson is joining the Indiana Fever. What does that mean? Indiana is just being so greedy right now. They took DB. They took Natasha. Now they got Sydney Colson. Like, why would they take Sydney from us?
Why? It's simple. National broadcasts, packed arenas, and the Caitlin Clark effect. But more than that, it's the chance to win. Players know that joining Clark means exposure. Your jersey on TV, your name in the news, and your highlights all over social media. Clark doesn't just shine in the spotlight, she makes it brighter. And Sue Bird knows that better than anyone. She saw it firsthand in Seattle, first with Lauren Jackson, then later with Brianna Stewart and Jewel Lloyd. Now she's watching the same winning formula unfold in Indiana. Only this time, it's coming together faster.
I think Caitlin Clark is at that ascension point where she's going to be top of the MVP race. We're going to talk about her in terms of stat leaders later, but the way that the Indiana Fever just made a statement around Caitlin Clark and said, like, hey, we're pushing in the chips. We're ready to win now. And DeWanna Bonner's obviously, the face of the new pieces that have come in. So obviously that's going to be the biggest needle mover in what Drew said. The market has obviously reflected.
But Sue isn't just watching the players. She's also paying attention to the mastermind behind it all, Stephanie White. And White? She's no ordinary coach. She's been to the top, understands the pressure, and knows exactly how to transform raw talent into a championship-caliber team. She's not taking chances. She's building for success.
The future is so bright, and our ultimate goal is to hang another banner in the field house. And our ultimate goal is to come back in here after we win that championship and celebrate again like we did in 2012.
Let's not forget, Stephanie White already has a strong connection with DeWanna Bonner, one of the most versatile and dangerous veterans in the league. That familiarity? It's a big deal. The trust? It's already in place. And Bonner? She's not in Indiana for nostalgia or team morale. She's here to dominate on both ends of the floor. At 6'4", with a smooth jumper, a powerful post game, and the ability to guard anyone from point guards to centers, she's the perfect piece to complete a championship team.
I think the biggest needle-moving free agent signing, which was also one of the more surprising moves for me, DeWanna Bonner to the Fever. That was one of the first dominoes that fell, in this offseason.
Now imagine this. DeWanna Bonner, Aaliyah Boston, and Caitlin Clark all on the floor together. Clark stretches the defense out deep. Boston controls the paint. And Bonner? She's exploiting mismatches, locking down on defense, and hitting corner threes like clockwork. That's not just a strong team. That's a playoff nightmare. Bonner brings something rare. Lineup flexibility. She can slide into the 4, 3, or even the 2 when needed. On defense, she can switch, recover, and rotate with ease. Put her next to Boston in the front court, and Indiana suddenly has a defense that can score from anywhere. And in crunch time, the Fever now have reliable closers on both ends of the court.